So this is the Sigma 18-50 f2.8 DC-DN contemporary lens for the Sony E mount system, and I absolutely love it. First of all, nothing in this video is sponsored by Sigma, so all of my experiences and opinions are completely my own. So with that out of the way, let's get into the review. So the Sigma 18-50 f2.8 was the first lens that I got for my Sony E mount system cameras. First replacing it with my kit lens on my Sony a6000, and then on my Sony a6400 when I got that one. And for $500, it's gotta be the best value purchase that you can get for your Sony E mount. Taking the lens into your hands, you can immediately feel the quality of the materials. Sure, it does have a plastic construction, but it still feels extremely sturdy. And weighing it at 290 grams and measuring in 65mm by 75mm, it is very light and very compact, which makes it fantastic if you want just a lens for traveling. This is really hard to beat. Focal range is also fantastic. 18-50mm, which in full frame terms would be 27-75mm, also covers a lot of great standard focal lengths for a variety of uses. First, you have the 18mm, which, while not the best option, still works really great for vlogging or streaming or whatever you need a more wide angle for. Then you have the 35mm, which equals to a nifty 50 in full frame cameras. And well, that's the great all-purpose focal length. And at the max range, you have the 50mm or the 75 in full frame, which will work really well for portraits since it's close to that 85. It's not quite there, but it's close. So you will have very minimal distortion. So in terms of focal length, the focal range is absolutely fantastic. But then you add in the aperture of f2.8 and you have a very capable lens. With that 2.8, you can still get really great depth of field, or bokeh if you're looking for that. And it also is fast enough to be used in less than ideal lighting conditions. I've used this at nighttime for a lot of different kinds of shoots, and it has worked very well. The lens also has a minimum focusing distance of only 12 centimeters while in the wide end, meaning that it can be used to get really close to the subject and get some nice macro photography going as well. Now let me be clear, it is not a full-on macro lens, but it is very close and can get pretty fantastic results. Now with those specs, the lens is already looking really good, but there's more. The lens's only interface are the focus ring and the zoom ring. Now while the zoom ring is bigger, it is also covered with a rubber coating, meaning that it is ridiculously easy to use. And the motors are super smooth. And the same applies to the focus ring for the most part. It just doesn't have that same rubber coating, but both of them are ridged, so there is no issue in using either one. In terms of autofocus, the lens performs really well. The motors are super fast and they can even keep up with the Sony a6400's lightning fast autofocus. So I've never had an issue where the lens wouldn't be fast enough. On top of that, the motors are whisper quiet. If you want to hear it focusing, you will have to bring your ear to the lens to hear those motors going. So any ambient noise won't be there for any videos that you do. The biggest downside of the lens, however, is the lack of any sort of stabilization. While I'm not the biggest fan of OSS, since I find that without IBIS, it's lacking, not even having OSS in this lens does mean that even the smallest jitters will be visible in your camera if you don't have IBIS. Just as an example, here is a rolling shot with my a6400, which has no IBIS, with the Sigma with no stabilization whatsoever. And now here is the same shot done with the kit lens, which has OSS. Now shooting them both with the same aperture and the same focal length to have equal footing, you can notice that the OSS does remove the small jitters that come from the wheels rolling on the desk. And just in the name of being thorough, here are the same clips, but after I've ran them through DaVinci Resolve Stabilization. And while the unstabilized Sigma is looking really nice and smooth now, the OSS still has just slightly more. Hey guys, Future Lo-Fi here. I actually redid those tests that you just saw me do because I wasn't happy with the video quality. And as I was doing them and reviewing the footage, I actually got a completely different result. So what you're seeing right now is the redone test at 4K 24p on the kit lens with OSS. And now you're seeing the same focal length, same aperture on the Sigma 18-50. Am I crazy, or is the Sigma suddenly just smoother? And after running the stabilization, to my eyes, the Sigma is much smoother now. And I thought this was a problem with the 4K, that the 4K was somehow causing the rolling shutter issue, and because of that, it was leading to the appearance of jitter, which wasn't there really. So I redid the same test at 1080p, 120 FPS, and here's that shot. Well, you won't be seeing it at 120 FPS because, 24p video, but still, you can still see what it looks like, and the rolling shutter is lessened, but still the Sigma just looks more stable. Am I crazy? Do you think so? It's weird, and OSS is bad. That's the takeaway here. It can be helpful, but most of the time it's just bad. You need IBIS to go with it. Anyway, just wanted to point that out for you guys, that maybe not having OSS isn't that big of a deal, but your mileage may vary, as we can see right here. Anyway, back to the normal part of the video, okay? Another thing that does take a point away for the Sigma is its tendency for color casting in defocused highlights. If you're shooting something at f2.8 and you have details in the foreground and the background out of focus, you will start to see green and magenta colors propping up in those highlights. And those can be a real pain to remove. But even with those shortcomings, I would say that the Sigma 18-50 f2.8 DCD and Contemporary is a no-brainer for anyone looking for a good zoom lens for a Sony APS-C camera. And even more so if you're looking for a good travel lens. Because while the lens itself is not completely weather sealed, there is still a weather sealing rubber around the lens mount. But the focal range and the maximum aperture and the size and the weight and the price all combined makes for a package that is really difficult to beat. If you want to check out the lens for yourself, I will leave a link in the description below. Now, as always, that will be an Amazon affiliate link, so it will support the stuff that I do here. But have you used the Sigma 18-50 f2.8 TCD and Contemporary yourself? Or do you have any questions about it? Let me know in the comments below and we can talk all about it. And while you're down there, remember to leave a like on the video. But that is all that I have for you this time. I will see you all next time. Have a great rest of your week. Okay? Bye!